Vigilante gang just took their town back from nasty Muslims and inflict perfect revenge on them. If you have not noticed lately, Europe has been going to hell in a handbasket thanks to liberal policies. These policies implemented by the enlightened left have done more harm than good, and there seems to be no end in sight. One of those policies that seem to be dragging Europe down into the gutter is the constant influx of Muslim refugees entering the area. The left pulls at the public's heartstrings, saying that these refugees are women and children who are escaping war-torn areas. However, the images and videos that have been uploaded online depict a different story. More often than not, these refugees are adult males who have come to the Western world in order to push their Islamic caliphate. Now, one town has had enough of these Muslim refugees taking over and have decided to push back with and have revenge. European citizens are realizing now that have bitten off more than they could chew with Muslim refugees. Of course, in America, many people have been worried about terrorists slipping through the cracks with refugees. However, in Europe, it is a very real threat. Over the last several years, Europe has literally been flooded with Muslim refugees, and migrants in many countries are on the verge of economic collapse. Not only are countries financially strapped, but they are seeing a huge crime wave that has not been seen before. Instead of the police rounding up those that commit heinous crimes, they are often let go with a slap on the wrist. Police officers in Europe often stand down in fear of being called Islamophobic or racist, even though they are just enforcing the law. Countries such as Sweden have several areas that have been deemed as no-go zones, and more are being added to list regularly. Milo Yiannopoulos reported last month that the total of no-go zones is now up to 23, and still growing. For months now, terrible acts of violence committed by migrants have been reported in Sweden, with little consequence for those responsible. For example, the 2 Afghan refugees allegedly responsible for the Facebook Live rape weren't even deported from Sweden after their convictions. Not only is Sweden trying to accept refugees and paying a price for it, they even threatened to sue Hungary if they didn't do the same and take in over 5,000 refugees. Now, RT is reporting that Sweden is adding 8 more areas to their growing list of no-go zones, which means there are 23 of these no-go zones in Sweden total right now. The report says that the 8 areas added to the list of no-go zones include Borås, Gothenburg, Landskrona, Malmö, Stockholm, and Uppsala. The Gothenburg area was where Swedish police were targeted by Molotov cocktails during riots, while a Swedish chef from Malmö was viciously attacked by Muslims because he looked like Donald Trump. Sounds insane, right? Well, obviously there are more people that feel the same way in Europe and are taking back their towns from these Muslim refugees and their criminal acts. One group of concerned citizens in France saw a Muslim gang in their town up to no good and decided to take action. This is exactly what seems to have to happen in today's world. The governments around the world have tied the hands of police officers with political correctness. And, because of that, the crime has been rising in areas that have a high population of Muslim refugees. Over the last several months, there has been an increase of terror attacks in England and the surrounding countries. Germany and Greece are on the verge of financial collapse since they cannot handle all the refugees entering, and right here at home in America, crime is on the rise. But, are you ready for the kicker to all of this refugee madness? The United Nations has admitted that many of the migrants entering Europe are not here for protection, but for financial gain. Here is more Daily Mail. The UN has said that 7 in 10 people crossing the Mediterranean from Libya are economic migrants and the rest are people in need of protection like refugees and asylum seekers. The UN Refugee Agency says people smuggling and migrant flows in Libya are on the rise, so Europe may face increased flows of migrants and refugees in the future. A hiker says 84,830 migrants and refugees have reached Italy's shores so far this year from Libya, which is a 19% increase from last year. In a new report on migration trends in Libya issued today, a hiker noted that largely lawless Libya has become a major thoroughfare for migrants, but patterns of movement are changing. A hiker says trafficking for sexual exploitation seems to be increasing, particularly affecting Nigerian and Cameroonian women, and organized crime rings are becoming internationalized. So, there is the truth of the matter, and it appears that if the government is not going to protect its people, then we need to do it ourselves. These men did it in France, and if more people did the same thing in other areas, crime would most certainly drop quickly. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Breaking News 365 channel. Goodbye and see you again.